The United States was not left unguarded, however, as Article 2 further requires advice and consent of the Senate. So, the point here is, a president does not have the time to pick all the inferior people. They're not inferior people, people in inferior positions in the executive branch. You know there's 2 million of them, right? And even on the political side, there's 3,300 of them. But he has the sole power granted under the Constitution to pick the key principles. And that's the way the framers of the Constitution wanted it. That's his job. But, they said, we want one more step, the advice and consent of the Senate. This serves both to curb executive abuses of the appointment power and to promote a judicious choice of persons for filling the offices of the Union. That again is Hamilton out of Federalist 76. By requiring the joint participation of the President and the Senate, the Appointments Clause was designed to ensure public accountability for both the making of a bad appointment and the rejection of a good one. Now, let me add here to my friend, the professor. What else is going on here? Mueller violates both of these, doesn't he? The President never appointed him, and yet he's a principal. The President never appointed him, plus the Senate never confirmed him. So that undermines all aspects of the Appointments Clause, because the President never appointed him as a principal officer, and the Senate never got a shot at him either, that is, to vote him up or down. Again, Hamilton. The blame of a bad nomination would fall upon the President singly and absolutely. The censure of rejecting a good one would lie entirely at the door of the Senate, aggravated by the consideration of their having counteracted the good intentions of the executive. If an ill appointment should be made, the executive for nominating and the Senate for approving would participate, though in different degrees, in the opprobrium and the disgrace. So in other words, it would be a disgrace of the Senate and the President, rather than just one or the other. And that's why they felt that doing it this way, you're more likely to have people who are good, virtuous, have integrity.
Right? Well, every once in a while, you'll get some truth from some people. We saw it last week. Right, Andy McCabe's the guy who lied 3 times under oath and is under investigation. But he did say one thing in the last couple of weeks on his book tour. He's the third person who has told us Rod Rosenstein was serious about wearing a wire and invoking the 25th Amendment. When you're the third person I've heard it from, other people we've deposed, that's probably one thing in Andy McCabe's statements that's accurate. So maybe Michael Cohen did say a few things that were accurate. One of those, of course, was he's never been to Prague, which, again, the Democrats didn't want to focus on that because, remember, that goes right to the heart of all this. The dossier was the key. The Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie, who hired Glenn Simpson, who hired the foreigner Christopher Steele, to put together the fake dossier, which the FBI used to go get the warrant to spy on Trump's campaign. And then when that whole scheme fell apart because the American people elected Donald Trump president, then they come with this plan. The Lanny Davis choreographed hearing with Michael Cohen, their star witness, who is going to prison in 2 months for lying. That's what took place today in that hearing.
You swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. Please be seated, and before you give your statement, I want to say that to everybody that she has asked for anytime you ask for a break, you get a break. Anytime there's something that you need you don't have, just ask us. And you can have as much time for your opening statement as you want. Just generally let us know if there's any issues.
The board has described you as being intoxicated at a party. Did you consume alcohol during your high school years?
Yes, we drank beer. My friends and I, the boys and girls, yes, we drank beer. I liked beer, still like beer. We drank beer. The drinking age, as I noted, was 18, so the seniors were legal. Senior year in high school, people were legal to drink. And we drank beer. And I said sometimes probably had too many beers, and sometimes other people had too many beers. We drank beer. We liked beer.
What do you consider to be too many beers?
I don't know. Whatever the chart says. On your blood alcohol chart.
When you talked to Fox News the other night, you said that there were times in high school when people might have had too many beers on occasion. Does that include you?
Sure.
Have you ever passed out from drinking?
Passed out would be no, but I've gone to sleep, but I've never blacked out. That's the allegation, and that's wrong.
So let's talk about your time in high school. In high school, after drinking, did you ever wake up in a different location than you remembered passing out or going to sleep?
No.
Did you ever wake up with your clothes in a different condition or fewer clothes on than you remembered when you went to sleep or passed out?
No. No.
Did you ever tell, did anyone ever tell you about something that happened in your presence that you didn't remember during a time that you had been drinking?
No. We drank beer, and so did I think the vast majority of people our age at the time. But in any event, we drank beer and still do. So whatever.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
During the time in high school when you would be drinking, did anyone ever tell you about something that you did not remember?
No.
Okay, 15 million pounds. That would you say that's a crisis? 15 million pounds?
Yes, sir.
We talked about fentanyl a little bit earlier. Drugs so powerful that less than 5 pounds can kill over 1 million people. Our numbers show that almost 1,700 pounds in fiscal year 2018. Is that somewhere in the ballpark?
Yes.
Would that be a crisis to the DHS?
It is, because it's an extraordinary danger to our communities, but it's also a danger to those who are inspecting packages. We've spent a lot of time on training. We had to do a lot of things differently, even for the dogs who were dying just by virtue of breathing the fumes from the fentanyl.
We need perspective on the border, and I know a lot of people are going to be talking about the immigration component, but the crisis is just not with respect to immigration. It's with respect to the drugs that are pouring across this border and that are killing our kids at a rate of 5 an hour for heroin alone, which is frightening. And one of the big components of that is fentanyl. And just a tiny amount of fentanyl is what's proving fatal in most of the heroin overdoses now, because the fentanyl is being mixed with the heroin. Can you tell me if there's been any significant seizures of fentanyl at the border recently?
At the border, yes. In the interior as well. ICE, overall interdicted enough fentanyl last year to kill every American twice over.
That's frightening.
Substantial amounts of fentanyl.
So and that's enough to kill every single American?
Twice, yes, sir.
It's amazing.
Since last year, we have been seeing 50 to 60,000 migrants arrive at our southern border each month. But in February, we saw a 30% jump over the previous month, with agents apprehending or encountering nearly 75,000 aliens. This is an 80% increase over the same time last year. And I can report today that CBP is forecasting the problem will get even worse this spring as the weather warms up.